Your dog stopped cold in the dead of night, rigid, silent, every muscle locked in place, his gaze fixed on one specific corner of the room. You got up, you checked, you walked over there and found absolutely nothing. So you checked again, and still, he wouldn't budge, wouldn't blink, wouldn't look away, and then, from somewhere deep in his chest, came the growl. So what exactly did he see? Welcome to Canine Mind. If you're new here, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button right now, because what you're about to learn is going to fundamentally shift the way you see your dog. Not just a little, permanently. There are 7 things your dog can perceive that you are literally, biologically incapable of experiencing. Not metaphorically incapable. Not you'd need glasses incapable. We're talking about sensory dimensions that evolution simply never equipped the human body to access. And some of these abilities, they explain behaviors you've spent years dismissing as quirky, random, or quietly unsettling. So don't go anywhere. Because number 1 is the ability that keeps dog owners lying awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying moments they can't explain. Let's start with something you've definitely seen and definitely laughed at. Before your dog does his business, he spins. Maybe once. Maybe a full 3 rotations. You've smiled at it. You've probably pulled out your phone to film it. But here's what nobody ever actually tells you about that little ritual. It isn't random, not even close. A study published in Frontiers in Zoology tracked more than 70 dogs over a span of 2 years and documented something that should make you stop and reconsider everything. These dogs consistently oriented their bodies along the Earth's north-south magnetic axis before relieving themselves. Not occasionally, not under special circumstances, consistently and under calm geomagnetic conditions. They did it almost every single time, without fail. Dogs appear to possess magnetoreceptors, specialized biological cells capable of detecting the planet's magnetic field, most likely embedded somewhere in their eyes or nasal tissue. They are walking around with a compass built into their anatomy. And that internal compass doesn't just explain the spinning, it explains something far more extraordinary. It explains why dogs that have been separated from their owners, lost hundreds of miles from home, have somehow navigated their way back. Not purely by scent, not by luck, by something closer to true geographic navigation. So the next time your dog does his little pre-bathroom wind-up, take a breath and appreciate it. He's calibrating. He knows exactly where north is. Do you? Stay with us. Because what comes next is going to make you rethink every single nighttime walk you've ever taken. You think it gets dark when the sun goes down? Your dog would politely disagree. Behind your dog's retinas lies a layer of tissue called the tapetum lucidum, essentially a biological mirror that reflects light back through the eye a second time, giving the brain another pass at processing visual information. This is the exact reason your dog's eyes seem to glow when a camera flash hits them in a photo. That glow isn't a weird artifact. It's a window into a genuine physiological superpower. On top of that structural advantage, dogs have a dramatically higher concentration of rod cells in their eyes compared to humans. Rods are the photoreceptors responsible for detecting movement and picking up contrast in low-light conditions. They are the hardware your eyes use to function in the dark, and your dog has far more of them than you do. What this means in practical terms is that your dog can identify a mouse darting across a pitch-black lawn, an animal you would stride right past without a flicker of awareness. And here's the part that should give you genuine pause. In complete darkness, your dog isn't guessing where things are. He isn't navigating from memory. He's watching, clearly. The world you're fumbling through on a nighttime walk, squinting, feeling with your feet, hoping you don't trip, is a crisp, detailed landscape to him. He isn't following you through the dark. He's leading you. He's just polite enough not to make it obvious. Keep watching, because in a moment we're going to talk about something your dog can smell, and once you understand it, you'll never think about your relationship with him the same way again. You can fake a smile. You can say you're fine. You can keep your voice level, your posture calm, your expression composed. Your dog has never once believed you. A dog's sense of smell is estimated to be somewhere between 10,000 and 100,000 times more powerful than a human's. That number is staggering on its own. But the truly jaw-dropping part isn't the raw magnitude, it's the specific information dogs are extracting from the air around you. When fear activates in your body, your adrenal glands release a surge of cortisol and adrenaline. These compounds don't stay neatly contained inside you, they carry a distinct chemical signature. And that signature exits your body through your sweat, through your breath, through microscopic shifts in your skin temperature. It's a biological broadcast your nervous system sends out whether you intend it to or not. Your dog receives that broadcast loud and clear. A landmark study conducted at the University of Naples found that dogs exposed to sweat samples taken from fearful humans showed measurably elevated stress responses themselves and were significantly more likely to seek reassurance from their owners. They didn't simply notice the emotional state of the person in question, they experienced a version of it. They felt it alongside them. This is also why your dog responds so differently to certain strangers, even ones who seem completely normal to you. He's not making a judgment based on appearance. He's reading a chemical profile, one that tells him things about that person's internal state that no facial expression could ever communicate as accurately. Your dog knows when you're lying about being okay. He has always known. He's just been gracious enough not to bring it up. What we're about to reveal next explains a behavior that most owners completely misinterpret, and misreading it can quietly erode the trust between you. Close your eyes for a second and try to imagine this. Reaching out and sensing the warmth of a living body from across a dark room. Not by touching it, not by seeing it, without any light at all, just feeling the heat radiating off a living thing. That isn't science fiction, that's your dog's nose. Research into canine nasal anatomy has uncovered something remarkable about the rhinarium, that wet, hairless tip at the end of your dog's snout. It's densely packed with thermoreceptors sensitive enough to pick up infrared radiation, meaning radiated body heat. This wasn't speculation. A study out of Lund University in Sweden confirmed that dogs could reliably detect a warm object in their environment, even when every other available sensory cue had been experimentally removed. This is an ancestral ability. Long before dogs curled up on sofas, they were predators. And predators operating in darkness need to locate warm-blooded prey through more than just scent. Evolution handed them a thermal detection system housed in their nose, and it still works exactly as designed. What was built for hunting, your dog now uses to find you in a dark room, to press himself against you when you're running a fever, to zero in on the warmest spot in the house with an accuracy that almost seems deliberate. If your dog has ever glued himself to your side when you were sick, he wasn't simply being affectionate in some vague, emotional sense. He was detecting a real, measurable change in your body temperature with a biological instrument so refined it doesn't even have a common name in everyday language. We're halfway through, and the next one is an ability your dog uses every single day right in front of you that almost no one recognizes for what it actually is. The thunder hasn't arrived yet. The sky is still blue. There's no obvious reason for any concern, and yet your dog is already pacing the hallway, already panting, already trying to wedge himself behind the toilet or under the bed, desperate for a small, enclosed space. You've always figured he can hear the distant rumble of the storm before it reaches your neighborhood, and he can. But that explanation barely scratches the surface. Dogs are capable of detecting infrasound vibrations occurring at frequencies below 20 Hz, which marks the absolute lower boundary of human hearing. These aren't sounds in the conventional sense. They're physical pressure waves that move through the ground beneath your feet, through the walls of your house, through the air in your lungs, and developing storm systems generate them as they build. So do earthquakes. So do certain types of geological movement deep underground. Your dog is built to catch them. This is why dogs have been documented behaving erratically, sometimes significantly in the minutes or even hours leading up to seismic events. In 2020, researchers who analyzed accelerometer data collected from dogs living in earthquake-prone regions found statistically significant spikes in unusual behavioral patterns in the hours before actual tremors occurred. Your dog isn't psychic. He's a precision-tuned seismic and atmospheric detection instrument, wearing a fur coat and occasionally requesting belly rubs. His pacing before a storm is not irrational anxiety without a source. There is always a source. There is always a cause. You simply haven't developed the equipment to perceive it yet. What's coming next might be the ability that unsettles people most deeply. And it has everything to do with something dogs respond to, that modern science is still working to fully decode. Picture your dog on a walk, stopping at the base of a tree. There's nothing there, at least not in any spectrum you can see. Here's the thing. There is an entire visual dimension your eyes are structurally blocked from accessing. Human eyes are equipped with lenses that filter out ultraviolet light. It's an involuntary process. Your eyes do it automatically, without your input or awareness. A study published in the Proceedings of the Royal Society B confirmed that dogs, along with cats and a number of other mammals, have lenses that allow UV wavelengths to pass through entirely. Wavelengths that are completely invisible to the human eye under any normal circumstances. What this means is that your dog is moving through a world with an entire visual layer you will never see. Under UV exposure, dried urine fluoresces with a glow. Animal trails left hours or even days before still light up. Certain flowers that appeared perfectly plain and uniform to you display vivid, intricate patterning that's only visible in ultraviolet patterns that serve as guides for pollinators, and apparently for dogs with far more sophisticated visual access than we have. The world your dog navigates is essentially covered in glowing information. Territorial markers, scent trails encoded in light, biological calling cards left behind by animals that passed through long before you arrived. All of it displayed in a spectrum your eyes were never designed to read. That moment when your dog fixates on a blank patch of wall or stares at an empty section of floor with unwavering intensity, he may not be confused. He may be reading, processing information that was left there long before you walked into the room, written in a visual language you simply don't have the hardware to see. Which brings us, finally, to number one. And this is the one that doesn't have a clean answer. This is the one where the science gets honest about the edges of what it actually knows. Here is what we can state with certainty. Dogs possess senses that operate well beyond the outer boundaries of human perception. They detect magnetic fields running through the earth. They detect infrared radiation with the tip of their nose. They see ultraviolet light that is structurally invisible to us. They hear infrasound that registers below the floor of human hearing. They detect microscopic chemical signals, hormones, emotional compounds, physiological shifts at levels of sensitivity that our most advanced laboratory equipment struggles to match. Their perceptual world is layered in ways we are only beginning to map, and much of it remains effectively invisible to us. So when your dog freezes in an empty hallway, hackles raised, eyes locked, growling at something you can't find, what precisely is that nothing he's responding to? There is no peer-reviewed paper that proves dogs can detect paranormal phenomena. That is a fact, and it deserves to be stated clearly. But there is also no complete, airtight scientific explanation for every documented case of a dog reacting with unmistakable, specific, purposeful intensity to something that registers as absolutely nothing to every human in the room. Absence of proof is not proof of absence. What researchers do know is this. Dogs respond to infrasound waves that precede events by hours. They respond to ultraviolet traces left behind by things that are no longer physically present. They respond to chemical signals so faint that detecting them requires specialized equipment that most labs don't have ready access to. When your dog locks onto a corner of the room and the fur along his spine stands straight, he is not malfunctioning. He is not dreaming. He is not performing for your benefit. He is responding to something real, something his senses have registered and flagged as worth taking seriously. Whether that something is a low-frequency vibration moving through the structure of your home, a UV imprint left by something that passed through days ago, a thermal anomaly too subtle for any human to feel, or something else that science hasn't yet developed the vocabulary to fully describe. The honest answer is that we don't entirely know. What we do know, without reservation, is this. Your dog is not broken. He is not confused. He is not acting out. He is perceiving. He is processing. He is reacting to a version of reality that is richer, deeper, and more layered than anything your own senses have ever given you access to. Whatever it is he finds in that empty corner, he takes it seriously. Maybe you should too. Now that you have a clearer picture of how your dog actually experiences the world around him, The next question becomes far more personal. How does he experience you? What are the things you do every single day without any awareness, without any bad intention that your dog quietly can't forgive? The behaviors that slowly chip away at his trust in you. One interaction at a time, without you ever realizing the damage is happening. Stay with Canine Mind and watch our next video to find out. Because the bond you share with your dog is only ever as strong as your understanding of who he actually is. And you've already taken the first